there's a race for trying to get the top 2 positions, and with 4 games to go, it's going to be tight.
Prepare as well as we can, so you know, and be specific in terms of how we prepare. So we're very aware that any side in this competition is a threat, so that hasn't changed, regardless of where they're sitting on the table. So they'll either be playing to stay in it, or they'll be playing for pride. So they can be very dangerous.
Anyone on any given night can win this competition, we know that. So I think if you turn up and you just expect that it's going to happen, you're in trouble. And we know that our mindset's been probably one of our most crucial aspects of our game. Turning up with that hunger and that intensity to go and try and get better than the previous performance. So obviously the last performance will be hard to beat, but you know, we could have said that about the last time we played KKR as well at Sharjah. So I still think there's that hunger in the group to want to keep building and keep getting better, because we're by no means perfect, and we know that we've still got work to do, but I sense that within the group. Guys had a good session tonight, and I think there's a lot of hunger in this group. I think the beauty we've got this year, and I know there's been a lot of talk in the past about, you know, RCB being reliant on Virat and AB, and look, obviously that's true to an extent, because what they've done has been, you know, it's been hard to match, because their levels have been so high and their performances have been so consistent over a number of years, and they're obviously, you know, outstanding players, top-notch players that have been top of the world for a long time. But I think what we've seen this tournament is a more even spread, and when you look at our 11, it's been a consistent 11, and we've had a lot of guys contributing to wins. So, you know, the opening pair have been excellent together,
and I think that's more the focus for us is the starts that we're getting. Yeah, I don't think Finchie's been in vintage touch, but he's still got the job done for us in terms of that partnership. So, you know, he's batting nicely in the nets. You know, just want to see that transferred onto the field, as I'm sure he does. So, but yeah, look, he's, as I said, Dev and Finchie have given us excellent starts so far.
Then obviously Virat and AB have been magnificent, the form they've been in. And then we look through the rest of the team, I think our bowling attack deserves a lot of credit for the position we're in as well. And not just one bowler, all of them, they're hunting as a pack. You know, Morris has had a big impact when he's come in. Saini's been excellent, winning us games early on. Chahal's been brilliant. Washington Sundar's been brilliant. And then we saw Siraj the other day. Then we've had other, you know, cameos from certain bowlers at different times, you know, earlier in the tournament as well. So I think when you look at it overall, Dubé's played a couple of cameos at times back into the innings in a couple of games that we've won. So I think overall we've had a good even spread. As we get to the back end in the big pressure games, you'd like to think that everyone's going to want to stand up and be the man on the day to try and get us the win.
I think once we look at it, once again, we'll gather as much information on that particular pitch as we can. You know, day games tend to suggest that they're a little bit slower, so that'll certainly be in consideration when we pick the 11. I mean, you get what you're given, so here the wickets are fresh, sometimes they are, but the ones in the nets were the opposite. They were sort of going through the top and turning, so there's enough different challenges today, and we think that as the tournament progresses, you know, there will be the odd tough surface. So it's about making sure that rather than flagging it, you actually, you know, take on the challenge. So, and that's what the guys have done today.
Yeah, look, I think all 3 grounds we've adapted to them well. Obviously, the results have been varied at different grounds. I mean, we've obviously we've had 2 wins at Abu Dhabi and enjoyed playing there. We've got a couple more coming up. Sharjah, we've had a couple of games, still got 1 to go. We've obviously had a good win there and then a loss, but Dubai, I think we've played pretty well here, and we've obviously lost the game early on against Kings. So, look, I think most of the venues have been pretty similar, but just the size is slightly different. But we've managed to adapt pretty well. So we haven't really thought about like wanting to play at one venue over the others. We've just realised that's the draw, and we'll do what we have to do to try and be successful at each venue.
Oh, incredibly promising. I think the fact he's got long reach. He's he's able to play off both feet. He can play spin and pace equally well. You know, the challenge for him is getting up to speed, you know, from a physical conditioning point of view, and it's been hot here and that's challenging. But more just that intensity, and I think the way he's transitioned has been great. There's been a huge amount of learnings for him as well in terms of for him to make that next step where he needs to improve, and he's a smart guy, so he's working it out.
Yeah, look, I'd like to think it's because we haven't overtrained during the tournament. Look, we've done a lot of it, but I don't think we've gone over the top, and we've always had days off after games and then also days leading into games to make sure that we're fresh mentally and physically. So I'd like to think that we've got that balance right, so when guys do come to training, they're actually sharp and hungry for it, rather than just going through the motions all the time, which is danger in these sort of tournaments where you go for 8-9 weeks on the trot, and it can wear guys down. But I think we've managed to balance that out pretty well, and the attitude of the group, as I said before, has been excellent. Most of our guys have played, but there's a few that haven't. And look, I guess the biggest thing is just trying to be honest with them and say the reasons why the team is the way it is. And I mean, we've had a history of chopping and changing, and this year we've wanted to try and have a bit more continuity, because it is hard being in and out of the team. But we've also had certain games, for instance the recent one against Rajasthan, where we thought Shahbaz deserved an opportunity. There was a chance with the matchups that he played a role with the ball, and he did that. Took a great catch, didn't get to bat. But then we changed it the next game because we felt the matchups were better with having another seamer, and obviously Siraj came in for him. So we have made a few little changes, but they've been minimal. They might be 1 or 2 at a time rather than 3 or 4 every game. So that's something we've tried to be mindful of, to give guys continuity and give them the chance to try and perform well in their roles.
RCB!